So Bill Maher and a lot of W folks are pissed that Obama had the mitigated gall and audacity to open up a museum of the Obama Center, 19-acre Obama Center in Chicago. A lot of people voicing their opinions, and they had a ceremony last week, a couple days ago for it. Star-studded event. People showed up and showed out. Check it out.
It was a whole mix of people today. On the Obama's guest list included global leaders, regular citizens, change makers, former staffers, politicians, celebrities, and last but not least, some big musical acts. Capped off with music gold, star-studded musical acts weaved into speeches watched by an invite-only list of 3 former presidents and first ladies. The crowd of 3,000 was sprinkled with celebrities, including Oprah, Steven Spielberg, and Tom Hanks. And there were plenty of local politicians and national ones, some possible Democratic presidential contenders.
At a time of just so much anxiety and despair, so much negativity, focusing on what's wrong, it's nice to see the spirit elevated at a time when, I don't care if you're a Republican, Democrat, a Trump supporter or not, we all need our spirit elevated.
California Governor Gavin Newsom and others say today's ceremony was a reminder of what was and what America can still become.
So wonderful to have this moment come in our history, particularly at this time. It was wonderful to see this beautiful family.
And the ceremony was a big family reunion for all the people who worked for Obama at the White House and during his campaigns, including former staffer Tommy Viter, now a host of Pod Save America.
I love the combination of great music and fun bands and cool people, and then all the stuffy nerds I worked with at the White House. When you get to see some economists dancing to Stevie Wonder.
There was deep pride among people who worked with the former president when he began his political career on the South Side.
We used to play golf just down the street at Jackson Park, and nobody knew who he was. He lived just down the street. His office was down the street. So this neighborhood's about him, and I'm really proud of everything that they've done.
Well, today was for the dignitaries, tomorrow is for the public. And the one thing that everybody here said today is that this center really is about uplifting regular people and democracy rather than Barack Obama himself.
Now, me, I don't care either way. Whether he has a building or not. He was a president, 2-term president, black man, 2-term president, right? He's not FBA, but, they erect statues and monuments for presidents, W presidents all the time. So a lot of these W folks are upset because Obama got his Obama Center, right? And like I said, I'm not rocking with the Democrat or Republican and none of that right now, but I'm looking at a lot of these youngest W folks, they upset because he got a center. Now, Bill Maher is livid, and he's trying to use his comedic stuff to come out against, this center. And I'm talking about all the money that they spent. Now, remember, he's that protected class descent. He don't say anything about them and all the money that they spend, all the money that's given to them, and all the things that they do. He says nothing. So now him and D.L. Hughley used to be friends, and D.L. Hughley, he's another guy, like he goes hard for immigrants and all these different people. But at times when stuff do happen to black people, he do come out and he speaks. I give him that. I've been doing this for a long time, and I do 4 and 5 videos every single day for the last damn near 10 years. So I've covered D.L. Hughley where he says some crazy stuff, but he also defends black people. I will give him that. He does that. He does a lot of times because I've done the videos. But he's going after Bill Maher for Bill Maher's hypocrisy, right? But see, even before Bill Maher was criticizing Obama, Bill Maher was saying questionable things, and D.L. Hughley was on his bumper.
If we know nothing else about Trump, he's transactional. So I don't care what happens. If you go to Mar-a-Lago or you have dinner with him, he's going to get something out of it. He's not the kind of man who just does things for giggles and laughs. And Bill Maher is not this. Bill Maher's position on woke is virtually the same line as Trump. I think he's been a vociferous opponent of woke. I can't even differentiate some of the things that the administration has said about the woke phenomenon, and he has. So I think they have a lot in common.
So Bill Maher is upset, and he doesn't understand. He's upset that the fact that the building was built in the first place, and he doesn't understand why did it have to be built. So he went on to his show, and in Bill Maher fashion, he's a habitual line stepper when it comes to our community. He went on there and said this. The whole thing is, I don't see him making videos telling these other people to take those buildings down. right? Take those statues down. You got statues all across America, people that owned slaves, people that was vicious racists. They're erected all up across. They on all parts of state buildings. You got all kinds of stuff going on here that celebrates the building of America by certain groups of people, right? I don't see him advocating for them to be taken down or going against them. So now you got the so-called first black president. They build something for him, and he got a problem with it. Now, my whole thing is I can separate my issues with Obama, right? Because I understand this W man is being racist. I know exactly what he's doing. He's using his platform to do what he do, where his audience disagrees with him, right? But he has to do this because he's told to do this, right? He has to take this position, right? But D.L. Hughley, he heard this and he got at Bill Maher.
So if you've been watching me or listening to me at any point at all, either on a radio show or on my podcast, Uncertain, you know that Bill Maher and I used to be pretty good friends. As a matter of fact, he came to my 40th birthday party. I was a regular on his show quite often. I think that even though we had different opinions, I respected him. I think he even now still is a tremendous comic. But I think that where we diverge is I think that he's an older white man and I'm an older black man. We're all becoming what we would have been anyway. And I think it's harder for me to listen to him now because it's so diametrically opposed to the dynamic I once had with him. Case in point, this episode this Friday, and one of the segments of the show is he was talking about the Barack Obama Presidential Library. And one of the things he said was, couldn't the money have been spent, on something else? And he talked about how garish and basically how obscene the structure looked. Here's what I will say, that I have never seen Bill Maher mention the price or the look of a presidential library until Obama got one. I've never heard him mention them at all. And it's a fairly common refrain. He always has the vantage point of a white guy. When you're a white guy and you're an older white guy, you're a single white guy, you're a straight white guy, you're a rich white guy, you tend to look at things from that prism. That obviously you all are. But to intimate, that I just don't understand why I never heard anybody, particularly this man, talk about, how garish a structure was and how much it was. I didn't hear him talk about Bill Clinton's structure. I didn't hear him talk about George Bush's structure or Ronald Reagan's structure. Presidential library is Obama that kind of draws his ire. And then he talked about the fact that he asked the studio audience at one point, are you going to see the Obama library? And then a good percentage of the audience said that they would, and he called them liars. Here's the thing. Somebody should let Bill Maher know that from now until the end of the year, the Obama library is sold out. And he talked about the unimportance from his perspective about why a library like that would be necessary. I can tell you why, as a black man who was inspired by this man, and who raised children who were inspired by this man, who has seen the world be inspired by this man. It is because the way that Donald Trump is assailing black history, the way that he is trying to destroy his legacy, that structure may well be the only proof we ever had that a black president existed. That structure right now, the Obama Library, may be the only proof. The way that they're decimating our history, they're removing Harriet Tubman, they're moving a famous...
No, I don't agree with a lot of things that D.L. Hughley say, but some things I do. Like I said, I've been doing these videos for a very long time, every single day. I mean, you guys tune in to watch me. So I've covered D.L. when he said things that I agree with. He said things I disagree with, right? I was not a fan per se of Obama, but I understand I understood the symbolism of it, right? What my grandfather was fighting for, my grandmother was fighting for to understand or see, right? So he gave some form of hope that you can achieve certain things, or you don't always have to be victims. You can come about it, all the symbolism of it. So I get it, right? I get what D.L. Hughley is trying to say in reference to that. Accomplishments. But what as foundational Black Americans, we have to look at those things and build things for our own. When you see this kind of stuff from these W folks, this is who they are. This is what they think. They don't care. They don't care nothing about you. right? Bill Maher will come and act like he's your friend or act like he's down with black folks. He's not. He's never been. I've been saying this. I've been making videos about Bill Maher for years. Bill Maher is well, I'll keep that to myself, right? But like DL said, you didn't have a problem with none of the other W folks, but you got a problem with the Obama Center, right? So I may not like, I may have not liked Obama's policies, but a lot of the FBA family do, right? So I can separate things I disliked about him to understand the context of what this video is about and why I'm making this video and the racism that's going on in America. Because even if it's not Obama, just think of this, right? For those of y'all that's listening, think of this, right? They won't even let foundational black Americans become president at all. They find black replacements. So if they doing that to the black replacements, imagine what they'd do to us. I'm gonna say that again for the people working with slow gases in the back. They won't let us become president of anything, right? Of anything. They get a black replacement. So they doing that to him. Imagine what they do to us and what they've been doing to us. So it is what it is. But y'all let me know what y'all think, man. If you made it this far in the video, hit that like button, subscribe to Street Media TV, leave your comments in the comment section. Remember, I love y'all. Till the next time, peace.